Welcome to Hunter Beyond Time and Space Chapter 25. New Nightmare. After the chaos, the prisoners slowly got up. Dozens of mechanical prison guards entered the square with the sound of orderly hydraulic transmission, directing the prisoners to clean up everything that had been knocked over here. At the restaurant, Guohu-chan sat cross-legged on the ground nearby as if he were an old monk in meditation. Lin Xiaoxiao looked at the black rubber bullets scattered on the ground and sighed, when immortals fight, mortals suffer. The fighters themselves don't care, but the innocent bystanders are the ones who really suffer. Hey, Guohu-chan, outside people say that you are always doing good deeds and being compassionate. What about these people you have harmed? Without lifting his eyelids, Guohu-chan replied, You talk to me about harming the innocent in prison? Everyone here deserves to be here. Hypocrite, Lin Xiaoxiao sneered. Also, let me emphasize, Guohu-chan opened his eyes and looked at Lin Xiaoxiao, I am not a monk. Don't use words like compassion to describe me. After that, he closed his eyes again and focused on regulating his breath. Although he didn't seem injured during his fight with Li Shu, his internal organs were aching like they had been scorched by fire. Seeing that Guohu-chan was meditating quietly, the others didn't bother him anymore. Lin Xiaoxiao gestured to Yuan and suddenly an invisible force field appeared around them. This was the same ability that Qin Chen had demonstrated when he deflected the raindrops during the fight on the steel dome. Seeing that Qin Chen looked puzzled, Lin Xiaoxiao smiled and explained, Don't worry, no one can hear what we say. Li Shu held the big cat in his arms at the table and asked Qin Chen, In the morning, I saw Lu Guanyi interrogating those new recruits during the induction ceremony. Was that your idea? Yes, Qin Chen knew that the other party already knew about his relationship with the Qin family and that Lu Guanyi was following his orders, so he didn't hide it. Why did you want to interrogate them? Li Shu asked. I wanted to see if there were any forces competing with me for the forbidden item, Qin Chen lied. He needed a legitimate reason to explain his actions. Li Shu nodded, I like your honesty, but I noticed that Lu Guanyi didn't abuse those new recruits this time. Was that also your idea? Yes, Qin Chen said. But I remember that when you first came in, you didn't help the other new recruits, Li Shu said. I did what I could, Qin Chen replied. Li Shu smiled and didn't comment on it. If his own life was in danger, Qin Chen would quietly watch as others died without offering any help. This was his principle. His life had never been smooth sailing, so he learned to be selfish early on. This was the attitude that life had given him, not something he chose for himself. At this moment, Lin Xiaoxiao suddenly looked at Guohu-chan not far away. Qin Chen turned his head and saw that Guohu-chan was still sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed, but his long arms were hanging by his sides. Using the index and middle fingers of both hands, he lifted his entire body slightly off the ground. Then, step by step, he moved his four fingers closer to Yuan's force field. It was obvious that he had discovered that he couldn't hear their conversation while sitting there, so he tried to sneak closer. This made Qin Chen feel a little amused. A rough and tall man with totem tattoos, who had just been fierce in hand-to-hand combat a moment ago, was now pretending to meditate and regulate his breath, while secretly trying to eavesdrop on others' conversations. The contrast was too great. Seemingly sensing the other's gaze, Guohu-chan calmly moved his four fingers back to their original position, as if nothing had happened. Li Shu laughed, All right, let's disperse. It's a pity we couldn't play chess today. I'll go read a book. Before leaving, Lin Xiaoxiao squatted in front of Guohu-chan and smiled, If you lose, just be honest and stay put. We don't want to make enemies with black spades. We know it's not easy for you guys in the wilderness, but don't cause trouble for us, okay? Guohu-chan lifted his eyelids and said, I didn't lose to you. Why are you so proud? Lin Xiaoxiao raised an eyebrow. Do you think I can't deal with you? Guo Huchan calmly replied, try touching a hair on my head. Looking at the shiny bald head of Guo Huchan, Lin Xiaoxiao hesitated. It seemed that the rumors were just rumors. Guo Huchan was completely different from what he had heard. Qin Chen ignored the two people's quarrel and turned to the window to get his food. He ate it quickly, as he was poor in the outside world and had only eaten compressed biscuits for 2 days after traveling back in time. While he had rice, vegetables, and noodles at home, he couldn't afford meat. The food here was average, but at least the synthetic meat had some meat flavor. Qin Chen felt a little emotional. The prison food here was surprisingly better than what he ate on a daily basis in the outside world. While Qin Chen was eating, he looked up and noticed that a quarter of the 210 cameras in cell 18 had turned towards him. Apparently, someone had noticed him finding a shooting dead angle in the blink of an eye. However, he didn't know who was behind the monitors. After Lin Xiaoxiao and Guo Huchan finished their argument, Lin Xiaoxiao took Qin Chen's tray and set it aside. She then went to the window to get another tray and said to the robot inside, the boss has instructed us to give him real meat from now on. Give him as much as he wants to eat. Qin Chen was surprised and asked why, but Lin Xiaoxiao cryptically replied, you will know soon enough. It might not be a good thing. At night, while Qin Chen was brushing his teeth in his cell, he suddenly felt drowsy. He realized something was wrong, but this time he didn't fall asleep on the ground like he did before. Instead, he rinsed his mouth carefully and calmly lay down in a comfortable position on his bed before closing his eyes. His nightmare began. In the dream, Qin Chen found himself in a desert facing two people sitting on a sand dune. The world was full of yellow sand, and the sun was scorching hot. In just a few seconds, Qin Chen's lips began to dry and crack. One of the people across from him pleaded, Qin Chen, please let us drink some water from your backpack. If we don't drink soon, we'll die. Qin Chen took his backpack off and opened it, revealing a bottle of water. He didn't say anything. The person across from him couldn't take it anymore and said, we're not asking for it for free. Name your price. Just then, a voice asked Qin Chen, if your colleague is dying of thirst, how would you set a price? Qin Chen coldly looked at the person across from him and said, I'll let the person next to you watch you die of thirst first, then ask him to set the price. As soon as he finished speaking, the person across from him turned into Lin Xiaoxiao, and the other person vanished like a bubble. Lin Xiaoxiao was speechless and asked, are you still human? I already knew this was your nightmare, so I didn't feel any sympathy. Qin Chen found a comfortable place to sit. It's strange that I can stay awake and remember everything in your nightmare. I should be able to resist the call of the nightmare now. Interesting, Lin Xiaoxiao said from the other side. You should be able to resist the nightmare now, then.